Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Well, first of all, at ease. Let's have a good time.
What is this, a Star
Let's have
is
a
Born?
good time. The other reason I'm here today is to personally thank you and every service member throughout this region for the near elimination of the ISIS territorial caliphate in Iraq and in Syria. 2 years ago, when I became president, they were a very dominant group. They were very dominant.
He likes that
Today,
word.
they're not so dominant anymore. America shouldn't be doing the fighting for every nation on earth, not being reimbursed in many cases at all. If they want us to do the fighting, they also have to pay a price. And sometimes that's also a monetary price. So we're not the suckers of the world.
Oh, my God.
We're no longer the suckers, folks. And people aren't looking at us as suckers. And I love you, folks, because most of you are nodding your head this way.
Oh, my God. That America shouldn't be doing the fighting for every nation. We invaded Iraq, okay? That is just a fact. We did this. It was the Pottery Barn rule, remember? Colin Powell with his little anthrax thing at the United... Remember that? Oh, but it's the Pottery Barn. You break it, you own it, right? We did this. And there was a coalition of the will, and they're still there. There's a coalition of other countries. There's 5,200 troops in Iraq, just so you know. An idiot boy managed to expose the faces of SEAL Team 5. 5,200 wasn't good enough for him. He had to go find SEAL Team 5 and take a photo with them so that everybody now knows where the highly skilled, intelligence-trained, super, valuable to the enemy troops are. I mean, this man is off the hook, okay? And talking to our troops like that, saying, oh, you are sucker, and ignoring the entire fact that America invaded this nation, this unarmed nation. I mean, did he think he was in West Virginia? Did he think that he was at a campaign rally? Holy crap. And then he goes on and he tells them, sometimes, he said, America shouldn't be doing the fighting for every nation on earth, not being reimbursed in many cases at all. If they want us to do the fighting, they also have to pay a price. Does he think that American volunteer soldiers are a hit squad? I mean, what is his deal? It's like you only endanger your lives for Donald Trump and only if Donald Trump gets top dollar? What is that? What is that? And then he lied to them. He told them that they were that they hadn't gotten a pay raise in more than 10 years, and I got you a big one. That's totally false. But you put that together with, we don't have a coalition of allies in there. We don't have, other people's troops wounded. We didn't see any deaths from the Australians or from, the British. Nobody died from other countries. I mean, this is so, and it's like he says this, and to break up the alliance. It's like he says this purposely so that the United States seems like it doesn't appreciate the death and the ultimate sacrifice that other nations have made. Obviously, at this point, we need a Marshall Plan for Iraq. We need a Marshall Plan for Central America. You want to stop all this? You want to, put in it? Then you actually do what we know works after great wars like World War II, and you do a Marshall Plan. But hey, there's no money in it for him until maybe he's a civilian. So let's make him one. That was his first visit to an active combat zone. But every place he goes, he turns it into an active combat zone. And I'm so tired of being the sucker fighting in his combat zone that he created. I mean, it's just, he is literally, Mitt Romney wrote an op-ed. Not that, don't forget who Mitt Romney is, okay? Don't forget.
Corporations are people, my friend.
Remember him. But something tells me Romney wants to be president again. And so Romney wrote this ridiculous op-ed about how he had high hopes for Donald Trump. He had high hopes for Donald Trump. He thought he would rise to the mantle. He would rise to the occasion. Somehow a 71-year-old man would change. That's like hoping Mitt Romney would not be a Mormon and start downing, pints of whatever. That's never going to happen, okay? It's never going to happen. Mitt Romney, the reason why Mitt Romney isn't the president of the United States is because Mitt Romney was caught on tape saying, screw the 47%. That's the middle class, okay? Romney is Donald Trump with a better suit. And the two of them are going after each other? Yay! Bring it on. Let's do this. See, what Donald Trump was spending his Christmas vacation trying to accomplish is exactly what Mitt Romney accomplished with his op-ed. Donald Trump is trying to break in half the Democratic Party. He's trying to separate the leadership in the Senate from the leadership in the House. This is why he's attacking Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi has done nothing to you. Nancy Pelosi has 2 bills that she's going to introduce tomorrow when we get sworn in as the majority, and she will show you that the government can be funded. These people do not have to work without paychecks. Also, there's a lawsuit. The federal workers, see, this goes back to that ridiculous Supreme Court decision, that last one, the Janus decision before Kennedy resigned and gave us the likes of Kavanaugh. That Janus decision was whether or not public sector workers, all these people you are totally unaware of, who now, when they're not getting paid, have a cascade effect on our entire economy. For instance, if you live in a place where there are a lot of government workers, let's say you live near a national park, or let's say you live in Northern Virginia, or let's say you live in a place where there are a lot of, government workers who work at, the Pentagon, or who work at the FBI, or who work, well, your store, they're not shopping in. It has a cascade effect, okay? And I swear to you, she's saying, let's just open the government and stop the bleeding here, and we'll give you $1.3 billion, which you can use for border security, real border security, but not for your stupid 3rd century freaking Ming Dynasty wall. That ain't gonna ever happen. It's not gonna happen in 2018. It's not gonna happen in 2019. It's not gonna happen in 2020. It's never gonna happen. Lindsey Graham is there, let's pay for the war. I'm asking you. I'm not asking Mexico anymore. I'm asking you. Mary Scanlon, she's a representative from Pennsylvania. You know what? She was very smart. She put up a video on Twitter telling you what $5 billion could pay for. A lot.
$5 billion would cover the cost of repairing Puerto Rico's power grid. $5 billion would cover medically assisted opioid addiction treatment for over 750,000 people. $5 billion would cover federal funding for Planned Parenthood for a decade. $5 billion would cover the cost of repairing Flint's water system 90 times over.
90 times.
$5 billion would cover the salaries of school nurses for 2 years. $5 billion would cover Medicare prescription deductibles for 12.3 million seniors living in poverty. $5 billion would cover the cost to replace paperless voting machines all across this country 12 times.
Wow.
And to really bring it home for those of us who live in southeastern Pennsylvania, $5 billion would cover the cost of repairs for all of Philadelphia's public schools. Or $5 billion would cover the backlog in repairs for SEPTA's public transportation. So let's think about this. Where are our priorities?
$5 billion would pay for school repairs in all of Pennsylvania, in all of southern Pennsylvania, 12 times over. It would pay for 12.3 seniors co-pays on prescription drugs. Oh, my God. And your idiot president, today, he decided to do an hour and a half's worth of televised bullcrap. Really, a cabinet meeting. And he's telling $5 billion is nothing. It's nothing.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President, would you accept anything less than $2.5 billion?
No, not 2.5. No, we're asking for 5.6. And, you know, somebody said 2.5. No, look, this is national security we're talking about. You know, just like we talk about the military, just like we're talking about Syria or Afghanistan or all these different places. I mean, we spend in Afghanistan more in 1 month than what we're talking about for the wall. Think of that. Okay, that's another way. We spend in Afghanistan more money than most countries spend, except a few.
Except a few.
Okay, it's ridiculous.
They're called allies.
What I'm talking about is the $5.6 billion that the House approved. And I have to tell you, the House was very impressive. They stepped up and they went in and they approved. And I'm not holding Nancy to this, but she said, you'll never get the Republicans to vote for it. I never saw anything so beautiful in my life. That spurred them on. The spirit they had. And I'd like Mitt Romney to join in that spirit because, you know, we're doing some great things. We don't need another Democrat. And you know what? I want the Democrats to join in it, too. The $5.6 billion is such a small number.
Oh, my
Literally,
God.
it's a month. It's 1 month in Afghanistan. And we're talking about national security. This isn't just a border. This is national security. This is health and wellness. This is everything.
It is not anything. Immigration is way down. It's not health and wellness. When you say $5 billion could pay for 12.3 senior citizens co-pays on their prescription drugs, that's national security for those senior citizens, okay? I mean, I'm looking at, co-pays now for drugs that I've never seen in my life, okay? Howard's just finally got diagnosed. He's been falling apart, my old man. He just went from like 60 years old to 85. And he's got something called axial psoriatic arthritis. And so they're trying him on, the drugs that you see on the TV that I laugh about. Yeah, well, now those commercials are must pay attention to commercials for us. I mean, I used to make fun of all the names of the drugs, the Cosentyx and the Xeljanz and the Humiras, and who's naming the... Yeah, well, he needs Humira, okay? And it's an injectable, and guess how much the copay is for 6 shots of it? 6. $1,700 is the copay, and he's on Medicare. So when you tell me that $5 billion could help people like my family pay for that $1,700 for 6 shots that he has to give himself, you don't even get a doctor's visit. You have to sit there and stab yourself in the thigh. Then all of a sudden, $5 billion matters. An idiot boy is sitting there saying he wants to spend it on a 3rd century wall. Well, I got news for him. That ain't never going to happen. And I feel so bad for these federal workers. You're talking about over 800,000 people in our country who don't know if they're going to be able to buy groceries, who don't know how they're going to pay for their co-pays, who don't know how they're going to pay for food, these are not people that live in the lap of luxury. These are federal workers. What do they make, like $50,000, $52,000? Do you know what I mean? They're just getting by. They live paycheck to paycheck. And he's literally holding them hostage, holding the DACA kids hostage, because he has decided that a few immigrants from Honduras and Guatemala are some wild national security threat a la ISIS. This is crazy. And then he's sitting there saying, I hear from a lot of federal workers who are like, yeah, hold out, hold us hostage, don't pay us until you get that wall. And Twitter lights up and they're like, F your wall. We need to eat over here. You know, we clean. And you know what they posted this, oh my God, they posted this weird ass letter. The federal government posted a letter telling the federal workers that they should hire, I swear to God, personal attorneys, or call their personal attorney, as if they're so wealthy that they got a personal attorney on retainer. Most of us are doing $49, contractors agreements on LegalZoom. No, they're saying call your personal attorney, and have your personal attorney write out a letter to your landlord saying that you are temporarily unemployed or you're temporarily on furlough and you're not going to get paid, and see if you can't negotiate with them. And the thing that you should offer them in lieu of the cash payment for your mortgage or whatever is you should paint or clean the bathroom for them. Go to RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.